This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good afternoon, Rabbi. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the Devorah. So yesterday we gave a brief recap on Parak Vav. If anybody wants to see something in writing, thank Nassim Ludler. We have a summary. I'll get it over to Gedalia if anybody wants it. We could provide that. But today we're moving on in Parak Shavi, which is the next midah, which is Tiferes. We explained Das, Keser. We explained Chachma and Bina. We did Chesed, Gevura. And now we are up to Tiferes. So the top three, Keser, which is Das, Chachma, Bina, Chesed, Gevura. We're up really to the sixth Sefira. Or in another way of counting it, if you don't count the first three, the third Sefira. How can a person train himself in the midah of Tiferes? Interesting, Rav Goldberg in his commentary to Devorah starts commenting again on Parak Shvi. So many may breathe a sigh of relief that if Rav Goldberg has commentary, that means maybe this is a little bit more understandable, and I believe it will be. So Parak Shvi, just as an introduction, Tiferes is usually a confluence of Chesed and Gevura. So Avraham is typically Chesed, Yitzchak is Gevura, and Yaakov Avinu is the midah of Tiferes. So Rabbi Yehuda Hanossi was the Gilgal or Nitzutz of Yaakov Avinu. So he says in Pirkei Avos, Ezehi derech sheyavar ha'adam, kol shehi Tiferes la'oseha v'Tiferes la'min ha'adam. So the Talmud Devorah says, "Ein safek shemidas ha'Tiferes hi ha'isek b'Torah." There's no doubt that the midah of Tiferes is most connected to being involved in the study of Torah. In fact, the Gemara Brachos on Daf Nun Ches comments on the pasuk, "L'cha Hashem ha'gedula v'ha'gevura v'ha'Tiferes." V'ha'Tiferes refers to Matan Torah. However, even though it sounds very easy, learn Torah. We all love to learn. Who doesn't love to learn? Especially if somebody needs you for something, or especially during bedtime when you have to put the kids. Everybody loves learning. Learning is great. However, a person has to be very careful. Amnam tzarach zehirus gadol. One needs extra carefulness. Shelo yizgoya adam b'divrei Torah. That a person not be arrogant in his learning of Torah. And this will be the main theme of the parak. So even though this is a parak about Torah, however, we have to be very careful that one does not couple Torah with arrogance, because arrogance will be the very antithesis of Torah. Shelo yigroim ra'a gedayla. One has to be careful that arrogance does not cause a great evil. Sharei kamoishu misgaya. Because the thing is, if a person is arrogant, then what could happen is kach goyim shemidat ha'Tiferes. It could cause the midah of Tiferes shehi ha'Torah, that tizgoya usasalik lamalach has v'shalom. It could cause Torah to be mizgoya and go up. In other words, if a person is mizgoya in their learning, then it could actually cause the Torah to be mizgoya and be removed and elevated from the world. So you could actually cause a great distance between the Torah and the world through the midah of gaiva. Anyone who lowers himself in the matters of Torah, then goyim el Tiferes shetered will cause Tiferes to descend, v'sashbil atzma, and lower itself, lahashpia lamalchus, to come down to malchus. So in other words, we know that we have the midah of keser, we have chachma and bina, we have chesed and gvura, and tiferes. Tiferes, below tiferes is yisoid, and those are the first six spheroids, and then malchus is number 7. So in other words, if you don't actually like this, the way you look at it is like this: you have keser, chachma, and bina are the top 3. Then after that is Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hoid, Yesoid, Malchus. So, if one lowers himself for words of Torah, and one is not arrogant, he causes Tiferes, that Tiferes should be lowered, V'sashbel atzma, and it humbles himself, lahashpia lamalchus, to be mashpia to the midah of malchus. So malchus is what receives the shefa from the various spheres. So to speak, parallel to one's attitude, especially in the realm of Torah, one will cause Tiferes to come down and influence malchus. V'harei lamata meha Tiferes, below Tiferes, you basically have 4 spheros, which are really 3. The 4 spheros, which are really 3, are Netzach, Hoid, Yesoid, and Malchus. Those are 4, but we could count Netzach and Hoid as one. They're always considered 2 friends. Okay, so now we're going to go through some of the ways with which one should be careful to avoid arrogance. Rishayna, number 1. Hamizgaya al Talmidav, one who is arrogant over their students. So by doing so, Goyrem Shahat Tiferes Yizgoya V'Yisale Me'al Netzach B'Hoid. He causes that the sphera of Tiferes is elevated from upon Netzach and Hoid. Tiferes, so to speak, rests on Netzach and Hoid. And Tiferes is, so to speak, the main part of the body. Netzach and Hoid are the 2 thighs, so to speak. And it causes Tiferes to be elevated above Netzach and Hoid. And Netzach and Hoid are called Limudei Hashem. They are called the students of Hashem, because they are the students of Tiferes. Talmidei HaTiferes. V'hamashbel atzmai, one who lowers himself, umalamda be'ava, and teaches his students with love. Gam HaTiferes yashbel atzmai al talmidav v'yashbiyem. Tiferes also will lower himself to his students and lower them. In other words, one who lowers himself to teach his students with love, as we're going to see, Torah can only be taught with love. As when we ask Hashem to teach us Torah, it's in the context of Ahava Rabba Ahavtanu, and Baruch Atah Hashem Haboicher B'Yamo Yisrael B'Ahava. Lefikach Yeha Adam Noyach L'Tamidav. Therefore, a person should be pleasant to his students. V'Lamdein, and he should teach them Ka'asher Yuchlon Se'es, and according to their ability to absorb. V'Hatiferes Bezchusai, and in his merit, Tiferes will Yashpia, will have an influence B'Limudei Hashem, on the students of Hashem. Those are the spheros of Netzach and Hoid. Kefi b'chinosam ru aleim, according to the level which is appropriate. So in other words, if somebody lowers themselves to teach their students pleasantly, that will cause Tiferes to influence the spheros below them, namely Netzach and Hoid. Now it's interesting, in the Devorah Hakdamus to Sha'arim, he also cites the Gemara Brachas Nun Ches that Tiferes refers to Matan Torah, and he says that we have 2 parts of the Torah. We have Tarsha B'Chsav and Tarsha B'Al Peh, and Tarsha B'Chsav is called Tiferes, Tarsha B'Al Peh is called Malchus. Now, we see the Talmud Devorah is emphasizing the importance of humility when it comes to teaching Torah. Rava says in Erevin Daf Nun Hey, Loi B'Shamayim Hi. What Parsha is that in? Lohi B'Shamayim Hi. Not only is it an Avram Fried song, it's also in this week's Parsha. Loi B'Shamayim Hi, which we darshan, the Torah is not found in someone who has a high opinion of themselves up to the heavens. It's not found in someone who has a wide opinion of themselves like the Yam. The Gemara in Soita says, anyone who's Mesyaher is Ki'ilu Bana Bama. And the Shechina cries over him, and it's like he pushed away the Raglei HaShechina. And the Rebbeinu Shalom says, I can't be with him together. Well, if the Rebbeinu Shalom can't be with him, then the Chachma of the Torah, which is the light of Hashem, is mistalik. The Nefesh HaChaim writes, in his Prakim, we know that Hillel HaZaken was from the greatest humble people. We just learned that one of the reasons why we paskin like Hillel over Shammai is because he was an Anav. Nevertheless, one time when he acted bisrara and psachim samach vav with the bnei besera, he forgot a halacha. So we see that humility is a key ingredient when it comes to knowing and understanding the Torah. In fact, the Nefesh Chaim writes in the Ruach Chaim that the reason why the Torah was given to Moshe Rabbeinu is because he was anav mikol adam. Just like a kli, the thinner the thickness of its container, the more of a receptacle it could be. So to a person, the more humble he is, the more he could be a receptacle to learn and understand the Torah. Now the Talmud Devorah said that the limudei Hashem are netzach and hoid, and the reason they're called that is because they are mushba from the midah of Tiferes. Okay, my Rabbi says tomorrow we will continue with the second way where one has to be careful not to be misgaya in order to ensure that one accords themselves with the midah of Tiferes. Everyone's invited to join us tonight. We begin Parak Beis of Masechta Yevamos, 9:15, and otherwise we'll see you tomorrow morning at 10:35, or tomorrow evening, or 5 o'clock tomorrow, or anytime you want. Okay, Rabbi say, have a great day. Kol tov.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.